They say the devil doesn't show up with horns. Sometimes he shows up in a linen shirt, with a side smile and a bottle of imported wine. And apparently, he gets the seat right next to your wife. I didn't know he'd be there. That's not me playing the victim. I literally didn't know. I found out the same moment the waiter handed me the second menu and said, "We're just waiting on one more." One more? I leaned over to Lena and whispered, "Who else is coming?" She smiled. Smiled like this was all normal. "Oh, Wyatt's in town. Thought I told you." No, you didn't. There's a specific kind of nausea that comes when you realize you've been edited out of the script of your own life. That night, I got the first taste. Wyatt showed up 5 minutes later, arms wide, grin wider. Said something like, "Well, damn, I didn't expect this to be so formal." He smelled like bergamot and ego. Her mother hugged him. Her dad clapped him on the back. He sat next to Lena. My seat. I got shuffled down the table, next to the cousin who never speaks and chews like a cement mixer. And there she was, Lena, in that ivory dress I hadn't seen in months, laughing before Wyatt even finished his punchlines. She did that thing, the thing I used to think was for me, where she tucks her hair behind her ear when she's fully present with someone. It's small. You'd miss it if you didn't know her. But I noticed. Of course I noticed. I counted the number of times she touched his arm during dinner. 6. I watched him refill her wine glass every time it hit halfway. I listened to her correct his story details, not to embarrass him, but to join in. They built memories in front of me, in real time. Reconstructed nostalgia like I wasn't sitting 3 feet away. They reminisced about a song that used to be their thing. That was the moment I stopped tasting my food. I think I was chewing bread at the time. Just chewing through something dry and pointless while my wife emotionally reincarnated her high school flame 3 feet from our shared anniversary cake. Oh, did I not mention? This wasn't just a family dinner. It was our 7th anniversary. I bought her earrings. She didn't open the box. She was too busy laughing. I went to the restroom just to breathe. Not cry. I wasn't there yet. But I needed the mirror to confirm I was real. Needed to see if my reflection looked as stupid as I felt. Spoiler, it did. When I came back, Wyatt had his arm on the back of her chair. Not touching her, just close enough. Lena was showing him a photo on her phone. She didn't even notice me sit down. I didn't say a word. I just watched. I watched them for 30 more minutes. Then I stood up. Quiet. No scene. No drama. Just left the envelope with the earrings on her dessert plate and walked out. She didn't follow. Didn't text. Didn't blink. She was too busy laughing with her ex at our family dinner to notice me walking away. That's not a metaphor. I walked. Right out the front door, down 3 blocks, into a bar I hate. And just sat there with my jacket still on, wondering how long it takes to forget someone who used to know your favorite childhood memory. I didn't go home that night. Didn't text. Didn't call. Just let the silence hang there like wet laundry. I knew if I walked through that door, she'd be sitting on the couch with that quiet look. Not guilt, not fear. Just mild confusion. Like, why are you making a big deal out of this? So I crashed at my friend Arlen's place. He didn't ask questions. Just handed me a pillow and pointed to the couch. That's the kind of guy he is. Doesn't do well with emotions, but he's there when it counts. The pillow smelled like burnt pizza rolls and cologne from 2013. Still better than sleeping in the same bed with a stranger. The next morning, she texted, "You okay?" Not, "Where are you?" Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "Let's talk." Just that. 2 words. A courtesy ping. Like she was texting her boss who called in sick. I didn't answer. I waited. Later that day, she posted a photo. A group shot from dinner. Her parents, Wyatt, some cousins. Not me. I was cropped out. Literally. I saw the edge of my shoulder. My existence was reduced to a blur in the corner of an Instagram story. That stung more than I expected. So I finally messaged her. "Did you enjoy the dinner?" Her reply came fast. "Why are you being weird? It was just dinner." And there it was. The same line people use before they gaslight you. It was just dinner. Just a laugh. Just a hug. Just an accident. I would have respected a kiss more than what she did. Because a kiss at least has intention. But this was something slipperier. Emotional disloyalty wrapped in politeness and plausible deniability. So I asked the question I'd been circling all night. "Are you seeing him?" She waited 15 minutes before replying. "Don't do this." No denial. No yes. No. Just don't do this. And now I can't stop wondering what exactly I'm doing. Asking, reacting, bleeding too obviously. That night, I went home. She was asleep on the couch with the TV still on. Romantic comedy playing. The kind where the guy chases the girl through an airport. I stood there for 5 full minutes, just watching the screen light up her face. Then I saw her phone light up. A message. From Wyatt. I didn't read it. I didn't have to. She smiled in her sleep. I didn't mean to go through her phone. I know every guy says that. Like it just happened. Like your fingers moved on their own. But I swear to whatever is left of my dignity, I hadn't planned on it. I came home just to grab a few things. She was asleep again. Same spot on the couch. Same playlist of fake happy rom-coms playing in the background like a looped sedative. Her phone was in the blanket folds, screen down. No lock on it. She never bothered. Said she had nothing to hide. And I believed that. Once, I sat down on the armrest next to her feet. Not touching her, not breathing too loud, just still. I stared at the phone for 5 minutes. Maybe longer. I kept thinking, if I look, it means I don't trust her. But the longer I waited, the more I realized, she didn't even ask me to. She didn't ask where I was last night. Didn't care that I left. Didn't even mention the unopened anniversary gift still sitting on the kitchen counter like a tombstone. So I picked up the phone. Hands shaking. Open messages. The top thread was him. Wyatt. The last message was harmless on the surface. Something stupid about a song they used to love. Some indie band no one else listened to. She replied with OMG yes. And 3 laughing emojis. That was it. But I wasn't looking for what they sent. I was looking for what they didn't. I tapped the little drafts icon in the top right corner. She never deletes them. I don't think she even knows they save. The first one was 3 weeks old. I don't know how to tell him. I feel numb when he talks to me. I don't think I love him anymore. My heart stopped. Literally, I think it actually skipped. Another draft, dated 2 days before the dinner. What if I did leave? What if we actually tried again, you and me? And another. You make me feel more like myself than I've felt in years. I put the phone down. Didn't throw it. Didn't scream. I just sat there. Still. Like my body was made of sand, and one wrong move would collapse me. She stirred in her sleep. Whispered something that sounded like yeah, and shifted under the blanket. Peaceful. Like her heart wasn't a loaded gun under my ribs. I stood up and went into the kitchen. Didn't know what I was doing. Opened a drawer. Closed it. Touched the box with the earrings inside, still unopened. Pushed it away. I felt something deep and ugly crawl up my spine. Something quiet and bitter. And then I realized something that chilled me deeper than any message or draft. She never even mentioned our anniversary once. Not the date. Not the dinner. Not the gift. Not me. She remembered Wyatt's favorite songs. But not the man she married 7 Novembers ago. I don't think I planned to go see him. I didn't sit down and scheme it out or rehearse anything in the mirror. I just woke up the next morning, got in the car, and drove to the address I remembered from a conversation Lena had with her brother a few weeks back. They said Wyatt was crashing at some Airbnb outside town while he figured out his next chapter. Whatever that meant. It was a small gray duplex behind a gas station, barely big enough to have a front porch. I parked across the street and sat there for 10 full minutes before getting out. My palms were sweating. My mouth was dry. I wasn't even sure what I was going to say. I just knew that if I kept sitting in silence, watching him orbit her like it was some innocent coincidence, I was going to rot from the inside out. He opened the door after the second knock. Hair messy, hoodie inside out. He blinked at me like he was trying to place a face he hadn't expected to see again. Then he smirked. Colby, right? I said nothing. Just nodded. He leaned against the doorframe like this was some casual run-in, like we were college buddies who lost touch. You want to come in? Or are we doing the whole stare each other down in the driveway thing? I stepped inside. The place was a mess. Not dirty, just scattered. Open suitcase on the floor, speaker on the counter, still playing music low. The same song Lena hummed in the shower last week. I got straight to the point. How long? He didn't pretend to misunderstand. Didn't give me the fake confused eyebrow raise or act offended. He just ran a hand through his hair and sighed like I'd asked him to explain something he was tired of hiding. Depends on what you mean, he said. I stayed quiet. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. Finally, he sat down on the edge of the armrest and met my eyes. We reconnected back in July. She reached out first. Said she wasn't happy. Said you'd changed. I felt something inside me tense, like a pulled muscle just beneath the skin. July. That was 3 months ago. We were still sleeping in the same bed, still sharing morning coffee, still going to therapy, trying to fix things she'd already decided were broken. I asked him if they had slept together. He hesitated, just a beat, but it was enough. Not yet, he said. But if I'm being honest, we've talked about it. There was no anger in his voice. No gloating. Just cold, detached honesty. And somehow, that was worse. I stared at him. Tried to figure out what she saw in him that she didn't see in me anymore. He wasn't smarter. He wasn't funnier. He just looked like someone who never had to try too hard. I took a breath. Does she love you? He looked at the floor. She used to. That answer messed me up more than if he'd just said yes. I left without another word. Didn't slam the door. Didn't threaten him. What would be the point? As I got in my car and drove away, one thought kept looping in my head over and over, louder than the sound of the tires on the road. She didn't cheat on me. Not physically. She just moved on without telling me. And now I'm the only one still pretending we're in love. I didn't even knock this time. I just walked in. The door wasn't locked. I don't know if that was carelessness or confidence, but either way, it felt like a metaphor. Everything wide open, except her honesty. She was in the kitchen, wearing my hoodie like it still meant something. She turned when she heard me and gave me this look. Not guilt, not fear. Just tired. Like she'd already had this conversation in her head a dozen times and was bored of it. We need to talk, I said. She nodded like she was doing me a favor. I told her I saw Wyatt. She didn't flinch. Didn't ask why. Just leaned against the counter and waited for me to unload like I always do. So I did. I told her I read the drafts. I told her I knew when it started. I told her how it felt to sleep next to someone who was already emotionally packed and halfway out the door. And still, no tears. No fight. Just that numb, robotic calm that made me feel like I was yelling into a snowstorm. She finally said, "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I laughed. Couldn't help it. How was it supposed to happen, Lena? I just wake up one day and you're gone. No, she said. Then softer, you weren't supposed to find out yet. I froze. Yet. There's a kind of silence that follows betrayal. Not explosive. Not loud. Just this quiet vacuum where your brain stops knowing what to do with reality. That's when I saw her phone light up on the counter again. A notification. But it wasn't Wyatt. It was someone named B. That stopped me cold. I'd heard that name once. A year ago. She said it was a friend from college. They used to pull all-nighters and cry over terrible relationships. A therapist in training type. Not a threat. Except the preview of the message read. Did you tell him yet? Or do you want me to? I looked at her. She looked away. And just like that, I realized why it was only half the story. I stared at the message for maybe 5 seconds, but it burned into my memory like it had been branded there. Did you tell him yet? Or do you want me to? My stomach sank in this slow, cold way that felt worse than panic. Wyatt had already gutted me emotionally. I didn't think I had any shock left in the tank. But this wasn't just another betrayal. This was a different kind of secret. One with threats attached. I didn't even ask permission. I picked up her phone and opened the conversation. She didn't try to stop me. She just closed her eyes like she knew it was over. The thread was long. Weeks of messages. Late-night timestamps. Voice notes. Pictures. Some of them were innocent. Inside jokes. Memes. Voice messages complaining about her day. But others weren't. There was a photo of Lena in bed. Our bed. Taken from above, shirtless, blanket pulled just high enough to keep it PG. The caption said, "I wish you were here instead of him." I scrolled higher. There were no hearts, no baby or babe messages. It wasn't that kind of affair. It was more intimate than that. Deeper. Raw. It read like two people who had been through something together that no one else knew about. Something that bonded them in a way I never even had a chance to compete with. Finally, I looked at her. Who is she? She was still quiet. But then she said something I didn't expect. She's the only person who knows the version of me that didn't marry you. That one sentence hit harder than anything Wyatt ever said. It was like she peeled off a mask I didn't even know she was wearing. She's not my girlfriend, Lena added, too quickly. Not officially. Not really. But she knows me. And I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. I felt dizzy. I leaned on the counter, trying to catch up to everything. My brain was screaming a dozen questions at once. Had she been with B before Wyatt? Was she cheating on both of us with each other? Were they all part of some triangle I hadn't even noticed forming? She finally spoke again, softer this time. I felt like I couldn't breathe inside this life. You didn't do anything wrong, Colby. You were good. You were stable. And I thought that's what I needed. But when I started talking to B again, it felt like opening a window I didn't know had been painted shut. I didn't even know what to say. I wanted to be angry, but my anger didn't have anywhere to go. It was like trying to punch fog. I had been so focused on Wyatt, so sure that he was the problem, that I missed the bigger picture. She had already left me emotionally, but not for him, for herself. There was a version of Lena I had never met, one who existed outside the boundaries of our life together, our house, our routines, our shared anniversaries. A version of her that didn't want to be married to someone like me. A version that had been slipping away one text, one laugh, one lie at a time. And now I had to figure out whether I was mourning my wife or just the illusion of her. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken. That had already happened days ago. I didn't sleep because something shifted in me. I wasn't sure if it was clarity or just exhaustion dressed up as acceptance. But for the first time in weeks, I wasn't searching for explanations. She cheated on me with an old flame. Then she cheated on him with a woman she once said was just a college friend. And all I got was silence and a front row seat. The next morning, she made coffee like it was any other day. No apology, no tears, just 2 mugs on the counter. Mine had "World's Okayest Husband" printed on the side. I used to think that mug was funny. She took a sip and finally said, "I think you know it's over, don't you?" I nodded, but I didn't trust my voice enough to speak. Then she added, "It doesn't mean it wasn't real. You were part of a version of me that I needed. But that version doesn't exist anymore." That part stuck with me. Not we grew apart. Not I made a mistake. Just, I outgrew you. And then she did the thing that hurt worse than all the cheating combined. She looked at me with pity. Not anger. Not regret. Just that quiet, devastating pity you give someone who doesn't realize they've already lost. "You should let me go, Colby," she said. It's kinder than holding on. Like she was offering me closure. Like I should thank her for it. I didn't answer. I just walked into the bedroom, took down the anniversary photo from the wall, and dropped it face down into a box. My hands were steady. That's how I knew it was really over. 3 weeks after she left, the house was too quiet. No toothbrush next to mine. No coat on the hook. No soft humming from the kitchen. Just silence and echoes and the weirdly liberating feeling of no longer waiting for a person who was already gone long before she packed her things. The divorce papers came in a manila envelope. She'd already signed her half. No note. Just initials in the places that mattered. I signed mine the same day. I didn't read it twice. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally did. There was no dramatic scene. No airport chase. No last text. She disappeared from my life the same way she drifted out of our marriage. Slowly, then all at once. And for a while, I thought that would be the story. That I'd just be the guy who got left at dinner, the man in the background of a photo he didn't belong in. But that's not where it ended. It ended 2 months later, in a used bookstore, of all places. I was flipping through an old photography book, something she would have pretended to like, when a voice behind me said, "You always pick the ones no one else touches." I turned. She wasn't stunning. She wasn't dressed to impress. But she smiled like she meant it. That was new. Her name was Marin. She worked at the shop part-time and had a habit of recommending books people didn't ask for. I told her my name. She said it sounded like a writer's name. I told her that was the nicest lie I'd heard all week. We talked for 40 minutes, standing between shelves. She didn't ask about my past. I didn't offer it. It felt like breathing again. Not running. Not chasing. Just breathing. We've had coffee 3 times since. Nothing serious. No fireworks yet. But she listens. She laughs at my dry jokes. She asked me what kind of tea I drink without judgment. That's all. But it's enough. And maybe that's what healing looks like. Not erasing the past. Not pretending it didn't happen. But finally realizing it doesn't control the rest of the story. She was too busy laughing with her ex at our family dinner to notice me walking away. But someone else saw me, months later, bruised and quiet, and didn't flinch. So yeah, I walked away from her. But this time, I'm walking towards something. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking back.